like to go personally myself without using live bait, because live bait is easy. So I like using stick baits and a lot of other stuff that we're gonna be using today. So if you wanna do that, you're more than welcome. I'll give you a rod and reel with all that stuff, so you can do it yourself too.
This is my 5th year back in a row to fish the Pacific here in Cabo San Lucas, and you know, it's amazing, but this is such a beast, the body of water that we're fishing here, and you just never know what you're gonna get.
Mira. Ahí viene un gallo, me venía persiguiendo esta madre. Okay, we got one in the back if you want to get it. You're the model today.
Okay, Tina.
Sure.
Right now we're already busy. We got a double hookup. We got Danny fighting a roosterfish, and we got Tina over there fighting another roosterfish. But we caught those with light bait. Danny's using a trank, and Tina is using a Shimano little jigger too. And we're using jigging rods for that. Light tackle.
It's fun to have the captains teach you about the different species and how to catch them. I just caught that roosterfish, and that was actually probably the trickiest fish I've learned to catch, the trickiest species, because they like to play with the bait a bit. I know that the marlin come in and they smash the fish, knock them cold or try to knock them out, bewilder them a bit, and that's a blast too. But the roosterfish, you see their fins come up on top of the water. They play with that fish, and you think, oh, naturally, you just want to set that hook.
Ahí viene, there he comes already.
Hey.
Ah, bueno. Mira. Chulada, padre. There it is, rooster number 1 of the day.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
That's rooster number 1 for Tina of the day.
Good.
Yep, we're good.
Vámonos. Hola. ¿Qué onda con Dani? ¿No, Dani? ¿Te ganó la señora? Right now we're jigging, and I'm actually using my setup for the beach, at least the reel. I love this reel. This is a Stratic 5000 XG Saltwater, and it's actually pretty strong. So I have a 30-pound test line Spectra, and I'm using an 80-pound test leader, because we're trying to target big fish like big jureles or yellowtails. Right now on the screen, all I can see is that there's fish right at the bottom. There's nothing in between. So I'm dropping the jig all the way to the bottom, cranking up 3 to 4 times, and then just jig at the bottom of the ocean. And we're about 150 feet deep right here. See, 1, 2, 3, and then I just jig like this for a little bit so that it can stay right at the bottom, and hopefully we get that. At least that's the strategy I'm using, and hopefully that'll get us some fish right now.
Algo bien.
There was some Spanish mackerel there. Look, there's a bunch of them right
A ver,
there.
háblame, dime cómo te sientes, Daniel.
Cansado, ya duele la manita después del 4º intento, ya está todo dar, pero valió la pena, Está buena la experiencia, la verdad.
There it is, the first Spanish mackerel, and that's what I'm using. That one's kind of heavy. Spanish mackerel are super aggressive. I let that one sink down about 7 seconds and then start reeling in. I always prefer to catch things with artificial lures than with live bait. We're catching a lot of fish behind the boat too with live bait. Felipe and Danny are catching with live bait, and Tina and myself are catching with artificial lures.
¿Listo? Oh, ¿listo? Como clavado. 1, 2, 3.
We're slow trolling live bait, and then we're casting stick baits and little jigs from the bow, Tina and myself. And we're about in between 20 to 30 feet deep. That's usually where we find roosterfish, sandy areas. There's not a lot of structure around these areas, if there's any at all. There's some jack crevalles here and there, but today we haven't caught any, which is kind of weird, because we usually catch way more jack crevalles than roosterfish. And they're fun to catch because they're really strong. They put up a really great fight, especially with light tackle like this. This is a Rapala I've been using today for the Spanish mackerel. The reason why is because usually Spanish mackerel are really aggressive fish, and they just target anything really shiny right next to them. So far we have been successful with it. We've been catching a lot of Spanish mackerel with it. I strongly recommend this tiny little Rapala. It doesn't have the name of it, so I cannot tell you which one it is. But it is made by Rapala though.
Sierra, eh? Nice. Buena sierra.
Ahí la tienes. Está grande esa madre.
Échala para arriba, hermano. Mira. ¡Ay, cabrón!
Ojo, mira. ¿Sí, tira? Esa sí está. Esa sí muerde, ¿eh?
At the beginning we were jigging. We didn't have any success with the jigging, so we just came over to see to make sure that we catch some fish. Right now we're catching smaller rooster fish. In summertime we catch 80 pounders, 90 pounders, but right now they're averaging in between 5 to like 10 pounds. If we catch a 15 pounder right now in winter time, that's a really big one for the winter. So we already released about 4 rooster fish, caught a lot of Spanish mackerel. I think Felipe just counted them and they're 11. We're gonna see if we can catch a couple more, and then we're gonna hit a couple more jigging spots along the way on our way back home. Hopefully we get to catch some with a jig as well, because I love jigging.
Bienvenido a Amaro Restaurant. Aquí les cocinamos la pesca del día. Cualquier pescado que ustedes nos traigan, se lo preparamos. Tenemos el sashimi. Este es sashimi, el tradicional sashimi soyerito, palomilla, cebollita, salsa de soya, limón, pimienta, pepino. Y son los callitos, así como callitos que le hacemos aquí en la plebe. Nada más está, Simón, así como tipo aguachile con hielito, frío y sal. Bañadito con la salsita serranito, limón, cebolla morada. Y otro sashimito, palomilla. Un besito para todos, que van a ser bien recibidos con la pesca del día. ¡Ánimo! Para la botana ya se lo voy a mirar, güey. Está fuera de vida nomás. ¿Disparo? Ese es Chichi Mama.
Yo te digo, mi amor,
Te vas a tomar un loco, incluye el baile sexy. Porque te voy a acomodar.
Así como anoche, ¿te acuerdas?
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Scream and shout.